let's dive into the the thing that we're supposed to be experts on now, which is the sort of sales and growth strategy. Now, this is an area, I think, more than any kind of discipline in the market, that's changed so much in the last 4 to 5 years, pretty much since lockdown. I think it's fair to say, whether that is, the rise of video conferencing over face-to-face, AI, automation, you name it. There have been so many changes. And in my opinion, a lot of it is certainly more negative than positive generally in some of the changes. So, look, Alan, obviously you've been in the game for longer than I have. So in your view, what are some of the biggest changes in sort of the sales process or strategy you've seen in the past 4, 5, 6 years? And, what's your sort of take on that, if they're positive or negative?
Well, it's if we look at B2B buyers, what's changed significantly is that people they expect to be able to find information. They expect to be able to self-direct rather more than be interrupted by someone in sales going, "Do you want one of these?" So there's a requirement for organizations to be constantly sharing value, highly relevant value, if they want to be part of conversations, because really most of the time I think most buyers have chosen who they're going to go with before they get in touch with you. So there's been quite a shift, I suppose, towards demand generation, where there's a lot more sharing of information, understanding what really matters to your audience in terms of their KPIs and the outcomes they want to achieve, and sharing highly relevant information with them, or making it very accessible to them. So that could be on LinkedIn, it could be on the website, it could be in email, it could be in a whole number of different places. But supplying that continual stream of relevant information is quite important. But the other thing that's changed, of course, is because buyers have become so self-directed, there's a flood of information. And so, you're suddenly going, "Oh no, how am I going to cut through all this noise?" And there's lots of people who are quite scared about this. And it sort of go like, is content dead and all the rest of it. And especially in the AI age, where it's pretty obvious that you only have to look at the kind of crap you get sent on LinkedIn, that that people are using AI to generate an awful lot of noise. The other thing that's changed is that your brands have to be very distinctive and and really stand out. And I don't mean so much differentiated as distinctive. You have to be instantly able to recognize that brand, because if there's this huge stream of information, then someone seeing you has to know it's you. And that's why there's a tremendous opportunity for people who really are experts, for organizations that really are experts, to use the humans in their organization in distinctive ways to stand out. It's why I post little videos on blackboards, because it's authentic. No one can possibly question that you don't know what you're talking about. So cutting through, you've got to be really distinctive with your brand and stand out. And unfortunately, a lot of companies don't do that. They do the opposite. They look at their competitors and they do something very similar to their competitors and actually blend in, which is a disaster. And then there's that opportunity to really provide genuine insights and genuine expertise, and just do that regularly. And I do think then there's the opportunity to appeal to those buyers who are being much more self-directed.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the self-directed side of thing now is huge, right? I think that so many people who I speak to don't want to speak to salespeople anymore. They really don't. They only want to, in some cases, depending on what industry you're in. So we'll just talk marketing tech at the moment. If you're in a marketing tech, if you're a buyer and you can go onto a website, if you can go onto reviews, if you can go onto LinkedIn, if you can see, first of all, that the founder or the CEO or the whoever of this company knows what they're talking about, and you can build that trust through, whether it's through demos, testimonials, or whatever it is, that is huge. And they are going to get, if you think about the traditional sales pipeline, from qualification, doing a demo, proposals, and all this kind of stuff, some marketers or some buyers just want to jump straight to the right. Okay, I'm ready to buy now. Now I'll speak to a
They've done
salesman.
the work. They've done the work already.
Absolutely, and it's one of the big things I tell people is that you have to get that, building that trust and building that kind of brand value, as you've just said, by being discoverable. I think that's sort of the key thing at the moment.
The problem with this, Matt, is of course the devil is in the detail, and actually you'd think, well, okay, fine, I'm going to whack a load of content here, whack a load of content there. It's not so simple, because most scale up organizations don't have the capabilities to do these things, or if they were going to do it themselves, they'd probably need to hire someone who can do their email marketing, who can write their content, who can do their social, who can, the list is endless, to be honest. It gets very expensive. So, and the other problem I've often encountered is that people start selling the thing that their business sells rather than finding out why their audiences buy. So,
correct.
I have a very people say to me, come and help us with I want to sell more stuff. I say, well, that's fine, but I want to diagnose the problem before I prescribe the solution. Mm-hmm. Whereas the old sort of outbound lead generation agencies would say, well, here's our solution. No, so I want to interview the clients and ask them some questions. What are the key features that you see from this organization? What are the key benefits to you? What's distinctive about this organization's product or services versus competitors? If you had to sell this organization in 30 seconds, what would you say? Because it's amazing, the list of things that comes out invariably different to the things that the company's actually selling. What you end up from that are a load of social proofs, very powerful social proofs, because you think the biggest barrier B2B selling is risk, because people don't want to buy things that might screw up their career. So, that's why I prefer to buy from familiar brands. That's why I think the stats are something like 84% of B2B sales have some form of recommendation and referral at their root. So, collecting that social proof and selling the outcomes that people really want to achieve is just so important. I mean, I've got a client at the moment, and actually, the category norm for their sector is about cost savings, but actually the reason that people buy from them is because they describe as peace of mind, because they know that all these other things are ticked off and are not going to fall over, and this company is particularly good at it. So actually, a key sales message is we're really good at these things, which de-risk it for you, and you get that peace of mind. Cost savings, side product, that's the, so it's it sounds simple enough, doesn't it? Just shove a load of stuff out there, but actually it's quite hard work, and it does need quite a clear strategy behind it.
It is. I think the real interesting point I think you brought up there is speaking to clients. Right, because I think when you and I when we go into B2B companies, the first thing you might do is you'll interview, say, the CEO, right, or the MD, and say, right, tell me why you win, right? Yes. What is it that clients? Why do you think clients buy from you? You then might ask, say, if it's a scale-up business that has a head of sales, you might go speak to head of sales, who will say something else. Head of marketing will say something else, but then you speak to the client, they might say something completely different.
Yeah.
And it's really the client in terms of, as you said, you should find out why people buy from you in the first place. You need to build on your strengths. And if you've got a client who's been with you for 4 or 5 years, they are such a great sort of social proof, as you say, in terms of what value is the company that you're providing. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people miss, because CEOs or founders of companies who may not be sort of commercially driven, there are guys out there who are incredibly smart, make amazing products, but just don't have that commercial background, and they'll do exactly what you'd say. They will come in, they will sell a platform or a product. Our product does A, B, and C, and it can help you in X, Y, and Z way, but it doesn't actually really tell what the value is. And I think that example you gave is a really good one.
I think the other thing is actually then looking at the proposition that's being sold and how do you actually get people started. I should explain actually three valued things really is that I believe that when you eventually get in front of a prospect, or and that could be virtually on the website or whatever it is, they should be something they can buy now to get them started. There'd be some kind of roadmap for the future, and ideally something they didn't know. So that you think when clients are making a decision to buy, particularly B2B, particularly in sort of technology space, what they're worried about is solving their problem right now, but also knowing that in 12 months time, 24 months time, 36 months time, that problem's not going to come back because your organization isn't always advancing for the future. So actually getting them started, knowing that there's a roadmap for the future, and that might well be the technology development roadmap, that might well be, the partnerships that are being formed or whatever it is, and then insights that can help them plan themselves and tell them something they didn't know, and that particularly if you're producing it, if you have a business that's some of the technology companies I work with, they manage a lot of data, and actually insights come out of that data. If you can inform clients and prospects about what's going on in their industry and their own particular audiences and help them understand the people they're selling to, then again, that's very powerful because you're constantly dripping that stuff through. So it becomes a very convincing story, those three things together. So yeah, that's why it's three valued things, and I know that it's quite hard to achieve those three things, but it's also very powerful.